Let's get right into it. What if the scariest weapon in history wasn't a sword or an army, but the mind of a master manipulator? For centuries, the most powerful figures didn't just control people with force, they hacked the rules of human psychology. Today, we're breaking down the eerie, sometimes brilliant tricks used by history's greatest manipulators, so you can recognize them when they show up in your own life. Number 7. Inception, the art of planting ideas. Picture this. You wake up one day with a strong opinion, convinced it's yours only to realize, months later, that it started as someone else's whisper. That's not science fiction. That's the psychological sleight of hand known as Inception. The world's greatest manipulators, from Machiavelli to modern ad execs, have always known that the best ideas are the ones you think you had yourself. They'll drop a question, a rumor, or a half-joke into a conversation and let your mind do the rest. Suddenly, you find yourself defending a belief or making a decision that lines up perfectly with their plan. The best defense? When you notice yourself fired up about something new, take a second to trace that idea back to its source. You might find someone nudging you behind the scenes. Number 6. Manufactured consensus, turning societies into echo chambers. Ever wondered how some leaders can get millions of people to think, act, and even vote in lockstep even when it goes against their best interests? Welcome to the age-old playbook of manufactured consensus. Dictators, cult leaders, and master persuaders have always used repetition and social proof to make their wildest ideas sound perfectly reasonable. Nazi Germany was a chilling example. Goebbels, the propaganda mastermind, bombarded the public with the same slogans, images, and stories until they felt like common sense. But it doesn't stop there. Every era has its echo chambers. From Mao's Little Red Book in China to the coordinated messaging of modern internet bots, the trick is always the same. Drown out dissent, amplify the chosen narrative, and make the majority feel invincible. Once everyone around you is repeating the same thing, the urge to conform is nearly irresistible. It's not about facts, it's about feelings, the primal need to fit in and avoid standing out. Even in free societies, this groupthink can shape everything from fashion trends to political movements. But here's the secret. Consensus isn't always real. Sometimes it's carefully constructed, built on repetition and selective silence. Spotting the difference is tough, but it starts with asking who benefits from this narrative and whose voices are missing. When everyone seems to agree too easily, challenge yourself to look for the missing side. You might be surprised at what you find. Number 5. The Weapon of Flattery. Not all manipulation is as sinister as propaganda sometimes. It's a compliment that does the trick. The strategic use of flattery is an age-old tool, used by everyone from scheming courtiers to used car salesmen. Here's how it works. A perfectly timed compliment makes you feel seen, appreciated, and most importantly, off guard. Your brain lights up with reward chemicals, making you more likely to trust, agree, or say yes to whatever comes next. Some of history's best manipulators buttered up kings, queens, and CEOs just before asking for favors or pitching wild schemes. Next time someone lays on the charm a little too thick, take a breath and check if they're about to ask for something. Number 4. The misinformation effect, twisting memory and reality. Your memory is supposed to be your anchor to reality, but what if it was actually one of the easiest things to manipulate? In the 1972nd, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus shook the world by showing how easy it is to implant false memories with nothing more than a leading question. In her experiments, witnesses to a car accident remembered seeing broken glass when none existed, simply because the questioner used the word smashed instead of hit. But it's not just science, it's a weapon used everywhere from courtrooms to cults. History's manipulators have used this trick in interrogations, brainwashing, and even advertising. They'll repeat a fake story or plant doubt until the memory itself starts to warp. Over time, you become convinced that you saw, heard, or felt something that never happened. It's not hypnosis, it's the science of suggestion. What's wild is how these false memories can become just as strong as real ones. Victims of manipulation can end up fighting for beliefs or stories that were planted there, sometimes years earlier. Staying vigilant means questioning where your memories come from and being careful whose questions you answer. So, if someone tries to make you doubt what you saw, hold on to your version of events and check the facts before you rewrite your history. Number 3. Fear the ancient manipulator. If you want to override someone's logic, nothing works faster than fear. Manipulators know that a well-timed panic can short-circuit your brain, making you act in ways you never thought possible. Whether it's cult leaders predicting doomsday, con artists warning about limited-time offers, or politicians using terror to gain power, fear is the original remote control for human behavior. The rush of adrenaline pushes you to act quickly, stop questioning, and obey the person who promises safety. It doesn't have to be true. It just has to feel urgent. Whenever you feel a surge of fear, hit pause because someone, somewhere, might be profiting from your panic. Number 2. Mirroring the chameleon's trick. The next psychological hack is all about trust, but not the honest kind. Mirroring is when someone subtly copies your body language, speech, and even your interests, making you feel like you've found a kindred spirit. It's a classic tool of con artists, spies, and political operators alike. Take the story of Frank Abagnale, the infamous imposter who inspired Catch Me If You Can. He mastered the art of mirroring, slipping seamlessly into any role by studying and reflecting his target's words and mannerisms. This made people trust him instantly, handing over secrets, signatures, and cash. Even in politics, savvy negotiators use mirroring to build alliances, lower defenses, and create artificial intimacy. Why does it work? Humans are hardwired to trust those who seem familiar. When someone matches your energy, your guard drops, and you open up sometimes way more than you should. But here's the flip side. Once you learn to spot mirroring, you'll see it everywhere, from job interviews to first dates to high-stakes deals. If someone seems too in sync with you, take a step back and ask whether the connection is real or just an expertly played illusion. So, next time you catch someone mimicking your moves or opinions, stay aware and see what they might want in return. Number 1. The power of symbolic acts. Sometimes, all it takes is one dramatic moment to capture a crowd or change the course of history. Manipulators understand the emotional power of symbolic acts, gestures, or events that bypass logic and go straight for the heart. Picture the burning of books in Nazi Germany, the tearing down of statues during revolutions, or a dramatic televised arrest that shakes a nation. These moments are designed for maximum spectacle, tapping into deep fears or desires and forging loyalty or panic. They're not about information, they're about impact. History's greatest manipulators stage these acts to create us versus them narratives, or to make a single idea stick in millions of minds. When you see drama on a grand scale, ask who benefits and who's pulling the strings. Next time you're swept up by spectacle, pause and look for the message behind the moment. The greatest protection against manipulation isn't skepticism or cynicism, it's curiosity and awareness. If you found these psychological tricks as fascinating as I do, subscribe for more stories that pull back the curtain on how the mind works and why it matters. The next time you sense a tug at your thoughts, your trust, or your memory, take a breath. Chances are, someone out there is still trying to write your story for you. Stay sharp, stay curious, and keep your mind your own.